The featured company is a paid client of Proactive Group Holdings, and this recording is disseminated by Proactive on its behalf.
The overall level of financings, more than 20% of them are less than 200 grand. That's in depression territory. So it's very much a tale of two markets. It's getting better. The trends are definitely on the mend. But I would say from what we see and what we're using as a guide is we don't really think the market's going to be firing on all cylinders until perhaps the second half of 2026.
Welcome back inside our Proactive newsroom. And joining me now is Mike Power. He is the CEO of Silver Range Resources. And Mike, it's great to see you again. How are you?
Great. Nice to see you, Steve.
Yeah, it's good to have you along. First time we get a chance to talk to you in 2026, and I thought it'd be a great opportunity, Mike, to sort of take a look back in the time that you and I have been together, and we've been sort of reporting on what your company's been about, because it has been some really tough times, and it's really I guess a tale of two different markets. There are some companies that are starting to thrive, and some are still sort of lagging behind, and I think that's the challenge that CEOs have these days. Is that a fair assessment, Mike?
That's certainly our assessment. It really looks like a tale of two markets. There's money coming back in, but it's going only up to the top right now. The general part of the market is not seeing uh, a reflux of money yet. It's a very slow recovery. It's astonishingly slow, and I think it reflects the fact that what's going on out here is a lot bigger than just the mining market. There's some ructions going on in financial markets that are driving the change in the gold price, for example. That's driving what's going on in the mining exploration market, but it's happening on a different timeline. And I don't think everybody really believes yet that the happy days are going to be here for the long term. So it's the money's slow coming back into the market.
Even though gold price is continuing to rise, and it's been very solid since really back in November of 23, right?
Yeah, the gold market, gold price bottomed in 2023 and it started heading up pretty quickly thereafter. And we noted that the Vancouver Stock Exchange, the TSX Venture, sorry, I'm dating myself there, the TSX Venture
Yeah.
turned and at the same time, but it had a very slow rise and it only really took off after Liberation Day last April. And the CSE composite, it hasn't turned at all. And that's where the juniors of the juniors lie. Now, as a prospect generator, we're selling largely to, we generate new ideas and sell them largely to the guys at the bottom of the market. So to see the CSE composite languishing is not a good sign for us. So, you know, but we've found a better way of tracking this stuff, to be honest with you. Um, if I can just share this with you, back in 2023, we signed a great deal with Altius to do some project generation in Arizona. Altius is, the world's largest, arguably most successful prospect generator. Great guy, bunch of guys, very sharp. They put a little bit of money in. We thought we could raise more money on top of that. And all of a sudden, in the spring, summer of 2023, it was like the oxygen left the room. We were
Mm.
mystified, and Altius was mystified. They said, "What's going on here?" We decided after that we were going to track financings in great detail because that's the oxygen that matters in this system. The rest of it's just conjecture. You get three brokers together, things are good, things are bad, whatever. To really know what's going on, we decided to start tracking financings. And we calibrated our data with some from John Kaiser going back about 25 years. And what we've discovered and what we can tell you right now about the market, and we're looking at all financings in Canada by any reporting issuer, private or public. Basically, the overall level is good. It's in good territory and heading into better territory. But the financing's less than 2 million. The critical ones for the juniors, the ones that are trying to keep the lights on and generate some greenfield projects and bring them up to drilling, those financings are just barely in good territory. And if we look at the overall level of financings, more than 20% of them are less than 200 grand.
Mm.
That's in depression territory. So it's very much a tale of two markets. It's getting better. The trends are definitely on the mend. But I would say from what we see and what we're using as a guide is we don't really think the market's going to be firing on all cylinders until perhaps the second half of 2026.
And really, Mike, that's where companies like yours put yourselves in to start working on projects that could sort of catch that maybe second half of 2026. I know one is East Goldfield, and you're looking at potentially doing some work there.
Yeah, and East Goldfield to us is symptomatic of what's wrong with the market because this is a project that it has been moved and it should have gone back out a lot sooner. We're on the east end of Centerra's Goldfield project. I was at a town meeting in Goldfield in November. They said they're spending $250 million there, and we're talking US, to put that thing into production this year. We have the adjoining ground. They've looked at it, and we might be able to do a deal with them, and we're looking at it with others. But we really believe we need to forge ahead on this thing in advance of that to dress it up. We have a target for exploration there of 55 to 70,000 ounces based on 19 drill holes. It's not a resource, but it could be quickly converted into one. And we've discovered some other surface gold occurrences outside of this area. And we have a bunch of small little drills. We're going to take one, and we've taken one of them out there and begun work on that in November. We're going to resume in the spring, and let's find some more gold. But we think that project will move quickly in a resurging market.
And Mike, one last project I should ask you about is Alamo, and I know that there's been some work there and more to come.
Yes, in December we did some soil sampling there, and we've got 400 and I think 80 samples out for analysis right now. And what we're looking to do is go back in the spring and run some geophysics there. Alamo's a really interesting project insofar as it's got a past producing mine on it that was mined down to 1,000 feet. It was shipping ore, high grade copper gold ore there, and you can see some beautiful mineralization at surface. If we can find a geophysical tool, and I'm thinking IP might be it, we know VLF is helpful. If we can find the right geophysical tool to map this stuff at depth, and we can find a zone that we think we've got a really interesting high grade gold copper target.
All right. Well, still lots of work to come, and hopefully we'll see better days on the markets as well as it continues to have a rebound from what was a couple of very, very sluggish years for sure. Mike, thanks so much. Really good insight from you, and appreciate your time.
Great to see you again, Steve, and happy 2026.
You as well. There's Mike Power, the CEO of Silver Range Resources.
The featured company is a paid client of Proactive Group Holdings, and this recording is disseminated by Proactive on its behalf. It is for informational purposes only and does not constitute investment advice, an offer, or a solicitation to buy or sell any securities. Viewers should conduct their own research and consult a qualified financial advisor before making investment decisions. The views expressed are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect those of Proactive Group Holdings, trading as Proactive Investors, or its affiliates. No responsibility is accepted for any loss arising from reliance on the information presented.